Good afternoon. You will be welcome to Hispanic Contractors of Colorado Statement of Qualifications webinar. We are going to get started in a few minutes. We're just going to give folks an opportunity to sign in. Sometimes we have some difficulty just getting in. So if you just bear with us, we'll get started just shortly.
No. Thank you, baby.
You pay for it. Good afternoon, folks. We're just waiting. We're over halfway already. Folks signed in, so just give us another minute or two. We'll see if the folks are going to join us so we get started. Today's webinar is a statement of qualifications. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Martinez, Executive Director for Hispanic Contractors of Colorado. Welcome to our Statement of Qualifications webinar. It's really, I think you're in for a treat today. We have a new presenter, and we're excited about it. First, a couple housekeeping items. We are recording today's session. We also would like it to be interactive and conversational. So if you at any time want to unmute your phone and join and ask a question, please feel free to do so. We want to make sure that you get everything out of this webinar today as much as possible. There's also the chat room. If you are more comfortable typing in your question in the chat room, please do so, and we'll read the questions out to the presenter and make sure that we get those answers today. Also, at the end, we'll do a survey, give my plug early on. If you will do the survey at the end of today's webinar or right before the end, I would appreciate it. We will be providing you the link. It is already in the chat room, so you can just hit that link and it'll open up the survey. Just give us a couple more minutes to add your comments, and we would certainly appreciate it. Moving on from Hispanic Contractors of Colorado, this is our list of our platinum members. These are the folks that are members at the highest level who help us keep HCC doors open, and we certainly appreciate their support. Our 2020 Board of Directors, 14 individuals and volunteers, they give their time to HCC and help set the course for what we offer, including on the webinars. If you see any of these folks or know anyone, please thank them for their service to HCC. Here's our mission. Our mission is, many of you have seen this before, and we have a couple of new folks on here today, is really what we try to do is strive to support small businesses and make sure they have a voice in the construction industry. We're very proud of our mission. We were very hard with it throughout the year, and the webinars are part of that, supporting that mission. We also have sponsorship opportunities available throughout our webinars, our general membership meetings. We have an upcoming golf tournament where we have a lot of inexpensive sponsorships. If you would like to have your logo, your company name on a sign, please contact the office and we'll certainly help you get set up for a sponsorship opportunity. I can also send you a flyer for the golf tournament. As I said, today's webinar, Statement of Qualifications, is going to be presented by Cecelia Garcia. Cecelia is a experienced business developer with many years experience in the public and private sector. Ms. Garcia has represented various clientele in seeking business opportunities for firms and targeted industries. Ms. Garcia has worked in transportation, transit, construction, professional services, governmental business, civil rights programs, so you can see her knowledge of the process and winning strategies is very profound. She knows all the necessary documents and communication networks and values to any business seeking business opportunities. Ms. Garcia will review the business development strategies that are built into a statement of qualifications for businesses. She will review a structure and analysis in building statement of qualifications and present strategies and utilization of statement of qualifications in seeking business opportunities. What is great about having Cecelia here today is not only she doing today's presentation, but she'll also be available for future assistance and help with you as you're developing your statement of qualifications or business needs. Let me introduce my friend, Cecelia Garcia.
Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here today. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be able to work with you on business development. So once again, my name is Cecelia Garcia. I'm a business developer and governmental affairs specialist. So what does that all mean? What it basically means is that I help clientele focus on winning contracts, following money, building their strategies, and assisting them with identifying dollars and money and contracts in order to have a successful business. That is basically what a business developer does. As I say very simply, I follow the money. So today, what I really want to talk to you about is something that I've learned over many, many years. I've been in this business development market situation consulting for about 25 years. I've assisted both the private sector, which means corporations, companies, owner operators, and then also the public, which is basically government. whether it's federal, state, or local entities. So I've been on both sides of the industry. So I want all of you to know whether you are involved directly in construction or directly in other businesses. I have knowledge and skills on various different ways a statement of qualification will fit into your business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. One of the things I want to start out with, which I think is a great way to start out, I love to tell stories because it always helps people understand who I am and what it really means. So one of the stories, one of the success stories that I want to tell you about, which is direct business development, is that the Colorado Department of Transportation sent me out to Trinidad, Colorado on a business outreach project. It was the $8 million Trinidad Bridge project. And they said, go out, find small businesses, minority businesses that will qualify for what's considered the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certifications, and we want them to bid and win contracts on that particular project. I go to Trinidad, Colorado, which is a very small community, and I tell myself, okay, I'm going to seek out businesses. And lo and behold, I find 2 Hispanic master electrical contractors in Trinidad, Colorado. They were the Quintana sisters of Red Wing Electric. So I helped them develop a packet in order for them to be DBE certified, a statement of qualifications, and of course there was a project management meeting where they were introduced to the consultants of the electrical side of the bridge. And lo and behold, with their conversations, their presentations, and their knowledge, skills, and abilities, they won a $2 million electrical project on that bridge project. So that was one of the greatest experiences for me, that here was 2 women who were in Trinidad, and their past experience was all of the electrical work for the Sonic restaurants in Colorado and New Mexico. And you would say, well, how does that relate to transportation? Well, I worked with them because their knowledge, skills, and abilities was electrical and had to translate to bridge work. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how you bridge your work in order to win contract, in order to win business. So a statement of qualifications is what I call this workshop, which is known as an SOQ. Now, you may hear many other titles for statements of qualification. Some people call them capability statements. Some people call them workforce statements. So there's different statements. They can even be directed either towards RFPs. They can be directed towards actual projects. They can even be directed towards what they call workforce, which are jobs. But today, we're going to talk about statement of qualifications because it's business development oriented. And that's what I particularly have seen win projects and win contracts. So why is an SOQ, a statement of qualification, so critical at this time of business turmoil and change? Right now, all of us who are in business life, are challenged more than ever before because of the COVID-19. It has turned business upside down, but it has also created many opportunities for small business and businesses. So one of the things I want to tell you is this, and I thought about this and watched this. Your business information today and your communications strategies are going to be your tools and your strengths in today's business challenges. So let me say that again. Your business information, the way you create it, document it, and use it in your communication strategies, which is now going to be different. We no longer are going to be in big networking events, let's say for at least maybe 12 more months. We're not going to go to hotels. We're not going to go to big meeting rooms. So your critical SOQ, your critical information that's going to go across every type of social media, computers, desk of decision makers is critical for you, because your SOQ is going to sell you and your business. That's why it is so critical to have a winning SOQ for winning business people like yourself. Next slide. So the next part we're going to talk about is an SOQ is a method to have you focus on your business development. So people say, oh, Cecelia, you know, I don't do business development, but every day that you open the door for your business is the day of your business development. So the SOQ is really the method that we're going to go through in order to gather all of your thoughts, all of your focus, all of your information, so you can sell your winning business to your clientele, to your business contacts, to any individual that will be looking at you as a partner in business. So identify your major focus in your business. This is one of the most difficult items for any business because you want to focus on the major trade, skill, knowledge, product that you want to be able to introduce to your potential client. So you don't want everything that you may want to do on a statement of qualifications. You want your major item, whether it's driving truck or trucks, whether it's selling a product, whether it's focusing on professional services, you want that major focus on your SOQ. So the thing that you want to come out with is you want to build a concise, targeted informational document, because what do you want that document to do once it crosses somebody's computer or somebody's desk? You want to be able to, number one, build relationships. That's the most important thing a business can do. Not just win a contract, you want to build a relationship so you can keep going back to that individual over and over again for opportunities. You want to open doors. That's the most difficult part of business development. You want to open doors to potential clientele. Those are the things that an SOQ can do for you, and you want it to do for you. You want it to focus on your business development. You want it to focus on your major task you want to provide. And then you want it to be concise and targeted, and you want it to build relationships and open doors for potential customers. Okay, next slide. All right, here we go, which is something that everybody knows from their life. What is the most important thing you can do, period? We heard it from our mothers, we heard it from our fathers, we heard it from our teachers, we heard it from our principals. Your company's first impression. Your company's first impression is you. Let me say that again. Your company's first impression is you. Businesses become very, very confused. They think, well, what I need to write about first is what I do. What I need to say first is what my company is. But absolutely, for my last 25 years of experience, people hire you because you're what they're going to depend on. You're the person that's going to sell them on you. So first of all, highlight who you are in the SOQ. Isn't that a simple statement? But many people say, what does that mean? What does that say? Well, highlight who you are. First of all, please put your name on the SOQ. That might sound like a silly statement, but people forget sometimes to put their name. They put their company's name, they put everything about the company, but people, believe it or not, are very interested. Who is the contact? Who do I call? Who is this person? A name is your first impression. So please put your full name on your SOQ and your title, because you are the CEO. You are the owner. So that is very, very critical, believe it or not. You're leading into a path with that person that's reading that. Then, okay, you may have been a driver for 25 years, but you've only started your company yesterday. That's important that you say, I've been in the industry for 25 years, or I'm an experienced person when it comes to engineering, or you have a special knowledge when it comes to a specific document or a specific trade item or specific engineering. You need to highlight who you are. Identify your best assets. What are those? You know, it could be something as simple as I'm responsible, I'm reliable. I told an individual the other day, you would be surprised who doesn't show up. That is the number one thing that I've learned over and over again. 90% of the win is showing up. So if you can say what your assets are, whether it's responsibility, whether it's reliability, whether it's customers that call you back over and over again, that you need to identify in the SOQ. Then know your experience. And you may say, well, I do know my experience. Well, it's the same thing as I told you with the Quintana sisters. Yes, they knew electrical work when it came to sonics and vertical work, but they also knew electrical work. They could high-end or low-end electrical work. So their experience transitioned into electrical work on the bridges. You have to tell yourself, I know what I can do. So what is that? What is that? It isn't just driving a truck. It's knowing that you have a CDL. It's knowing all the rules and regulations. It's knowing what type of products you can pick up. It's knowing whether or not you're a professional in business, those particular trade skills, knowledges that you know. So you need to highlight that experience in the SOQ. So we will be able to talk about that as we move. This is just the beginning and the first steps of this type of webinar. So we're going to keep going and we're going to keep speaking as we go so we can keep building the SOQ. So one of the things I want to really highlight is your experiences are unique. So many SOQs are very boring. They're very repetitive. So the only thing that will set you apart from any other SOQ is your unique experience placed in that SOQ. So here I am, a procurement officer, and I'm sitting in the city and county of Denver. I just don't get 10 SOQs. I may get 100 SOQs a day, especially if it's a particular project. So you need to put your unique experiences into that SOQ. It may be that you did 100 residential projects delivering certain products. It may mean that you did a project that was a huge project over and over again in a particular different road or different town or different difficult snowstorm. Whatever you have experienced, it's a unique experience. And that's what you need to put in an SOQ in order to differentiate your SOQ from others. And then the last thing, which is very, very critical, tell your story. Tell your story. The individual that I represent now in her business, Selena Inc., she happened to be very much involved with the transportation industry for 36 years. That's her story. 36 years in the transportation industry is something others do not have. Now, maybe your particular uniqueness is a different industry, but you need to say that. Tell your story. Everyone has a different story. So you need to put these particular highlighted situations in your company's first impression. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is very different for business. These are a little bit different because people say business is business, there's no emotions in business. But I have to tell you, in my experience, even the most cold, hardcore decision maker does have emotions connected to hiring an individual to work on their project because that's their reputation. So the first thing you want to look at when you're looking at an SOQ and you're developing an SOQ is what is your authentic experience? Authentic experiences. Be yourself. Don't try to be like any other business. You have authentic experiences that no one else has. And those are valuable. Those are valuable. No matter where we come from, whatever path we started in, everyone has gotten there with very, very authentic experiences. I started out in youth advocacy, and then I moved to governmental affairs, which was campaigns, and then eventually lobbying. And I really didn't know how to make connections, but I knew every restaurant in Denver where all the elected officials and all the decision makers went. So I would go to those restaurants and say, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Can we talk for a minute? Because I didn't belong to a big high society polo club or different associations. So that's what I knew. That's how I got to the decision makers. Your authentic experiences may be different. You need to tell that authentic experience in a few words in your SOQ. What was your path to ownership? That's a story in itself. Highlight your strengths. You know, you made it through a snowstorm, or you made it when no one else made it to a particular meeting to meet a decision maker. You sat in every single rule and regulation. You showed up to see a client when no one else did. Highlight your strengths. Your knowledge, skills, and abilities are important to show in your SOQ. Once again, your knowledge, skills, and abilities, that's different than what your company does. That's about you. You know, your passion to do what you do in the most perfect way is more strong than anyone else. So knowledge, skills, and abilities may sound like job items, but they're not. It's your knowledge and skill abilities to deliver your trade, to deliver your skills, to deliver what you're going to deliver for your customer in a winning way. For example, the words responsible, consistent, reliable history are values customers seek. I can't tell you how many times I sat in projects and watched my customers go inside, especially a particular concrete company who was starting out small, and the truck driver ran out of gas. And there was another truck there of the same company. The trucker jumped out, got a hose, pulled out the gas from that truck and put it in the other truck and kept going. That story got to CDOT and got all over to every superintendent that that company kept going. They could not believe that that gentleman did that in a second and kept that truck going. So your values are what's being hired, believe it or not. You may think it's just your company, but it's your values. That's how all of us ultimately differentiate ourselves from everyone else. Okay, next slide. Okay, so here we go. The culture and personality of you and your company. Now, people will say, well, that sounds very different. Well, this is something that I have made a living at. This is something that I have been successful at. The most important thing I could give you today, connect to your prospective customer. That is the most difficult step that happens, but the most important step. Because once you connect, they're never going to forget you. They're going to always call you. So let me say that again. Connect to your prospective customer. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about those skills. So the first thing is connect them to your company emotionally and your SOQ. That is the most important thing I can tell you, because if it's dull, they won't keep reading it. They are not going to reread and reread. They already know what particular SOQs look like, sound like, read like. So when you look at your SOQ, you're going to say, does it have feeling? Is it saying something about me? Is it connecting to that, whether it's a superintendent, whether it's a director, whether it's a procurement officer? What is the one thing that's going to connect emotionally to that person that's going to be reading my SOQ? So this is the answer, is the next line. It says, show your passion by describing who you are and what you do. I show who I am when I represent clients because I'm the first one in the room. I'm the first one to go up to the prospective client. I'm the first one all the time to say, here I am, I'm representing so-and-so. And they can see that passion in me because they know I'm there for that client. You're the same. You want to show your passion. You want to describe who you are and what you do passionately in your SOQ. It isn't a matter of saying, well, I've been 15 years in the business. What you can say is, I've been 15 years in the business by working at such and such a project from this year to this year in some of the most difficult times. You know, I've performed such and such on a difficult role. I show up, I do, and right now, some of the most difficult financial times. So you want to show some type of passion. You want to grab the attention of the decision maker. And we're going to talk about a decision maker and what that is. If I would have known this line, grab the attention of the decision maker when I first started out in business, it would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of hurts. Because the only person you should be looking for, the only person you should put your energies to is the decision maker. That is the biggest thing I could provide you today. Okay, the next slide. So when you know who you are and how you are going to win a contract, which we're going through in an SOQ, you have to know your prospective buyer. You have to know who they are, not as an individual, not particularly who they are as an individual, but when you know your prospective buyers, whether it's the city and county of Denver, whether it's Kiewit, you have to explain how you're going to benefit that prospective buyer. Once again, you're going to explain how you benefit the prospective buyer in your SOQ. And that's going to be because you're going to list particular projects, you're going to list particular history, you're going to say, I am the best in what I do, and I'm going to help you win this contract. I'm going to help you have a greater reputation. Clients want to see themselves and identify reading your materials. They want to look at themselves through your SOQ. They want to say, oh, I understand them. I know who they are. They have a clear message to me. I can trust them on this project, because what they're really trusting you with, what they're really identifying with you with, is that they're going to give you their money on that particular project, that particular sale. Money is the closest thing an individual has. And so they're going to give that to you. So when they want to look at your SOQ, they want to identify with you. No matter how big they are, president of a company, they want to identify with you through that SOQ. So now we're going to talk about when I say know your prospective buyer. And this is something that I think everyone should learn, and I'm going to jump you ahead. Okay, some things that people take years and years to learn, like me, I'm going to go ahead and give you this information. So this is, what is the difference? And I'm going to first say this sentence. What is the difference between a sponsor, a whale, a prime, a subprime, a project manager, a procurement officer, a mentor, or a gatekeeper? Why is this all important to you when it comes to an SOQ? Because those are your prospective buyers. So let's go with the first one first. What is a whale? Does anyone want to take a chance at that? What is a whale? Okay. A whale in business is the one that truly controls the money, has the money. You walk into the room and you know they're it, the who holds the gold. So that's what a whale is. The big dog, that's right, that's right. They're the ones that hold that purse. Okay, in the world of government, that people might say, they're the one with the budget. They're the one with the budget. Or they might say, like at RTD, the general manager, they're the ones with the money. So that's who the whale is. I've had only one whale in all my 25 years. It's very difficult to get next to a whale, but that's what you really want to do, because they tell everybody else what to do. There's not even a question. When they say do it, they do it. So next, what is a sponsor? Does anyone want to take a guess at that? Okay. Yes, you want a whale, but the next best thing is a sponsor. A sponsor is somebody that's going to be with you for years. They're in control in whatever entity they're in. It can be a Kiewit president. It can be a governmental director. It can be a prospective financial investor. A sponsor is somebody inside the process that can say, I'm going to sponsor you through this, and we're going to stick together, and I'm going to get you inside the doors. I'm going to get you into the decision makers that are going to make the contracts, and I'm going to show you the budgets, the money, who is what in the zoo. That's what I call it. Who's who in the zoo. But the sponsor has power. That is the main thing about a sponsor. And number two, they're going to stick with you through thick and thin, not just for a project, not just for a particular budget item. They're going to stick with you through a particular agency or industry or a particular financial investment. That's what a sponsor is. I've had sponsors, more than one whale. I've had sponsors, and I've found sponsors for particular clientele. That's why an SOQ is so critical, because you want to sell to a whale and a sponsor, not just a project. You want to go out and get these individuals to be with you in your business, because you're not going to just be in your business for a year. This is your life. It's not just about money. Yes, money is critical. Yes, that is everything to every business, but you want a lifetime of work for your business. Okay, so then what's a prime? We all know this. A prime is the big companies, the big constructors. Even I understand there's someone in the real estate market here. Even you have primes. They're the big companies that have all the agents, etc. So primes go in and they always team. I don't care what anybody says, what anybody knows, primes will team with other entities, whatever industry they're in order to win the bid. That's what it is. They put all their strengths together. They build all their SOQs together in order to win big projects, big deals, big developments, etc. Those are primes. Subprimes are under the primes, but subprimes can be as big as primes. That's the difference. A subprime is going to be under a prime. So sometimes you'll see the flip. Sometimes one time you'll see, let's say, Key would be the lead, and maybe the subprime is another prime, but they're going to be under that prime. So the prime is critical because ultimately they are the major decision makers, right? They're the ones that are going to put the team together. They're the ones that are going to hire the major decision makers. Then the next one is very important because it's very difficult because it's such a system, the procurement officer. There are procurement officers in every single entity across the land. And procurement officers are the ones that create the documents that are going to put out the opportunities, whether it's a request for proposal, whether it's a request for information, whether it's a quote, whatever it may be, that procurement officer is putting that document together in order for whether it's primes, subprimes, etc., to qualify for the project, to qualify for the project. Procurement officers are really hidden. They're very difficult to reach. They're very difficult to get to because first of all, they're inside systems, whether it's federal, state, local, whether it's even big corporations, whether it's big private sector systems. Procurement officers sit inside offices. So guess what? Your SOQ is where it's critical to reach them because that's what they're going to read is the SOQ. That's what they're going to see first is your SOQ. You may not reach them, but your SOQ is going to reach them. So that's a fact. That's why it's so critical. Then, of course, your mentor, and mentors, of course, are individuals or companies or even groups that may want to mentor you through your industry. They are not decision makers in a sense. They're there to assist you with helping you get through the business steps. That's not their role to do your business development. Their role is to help you with business processes. And then what you never want to meet and what you never want to waste your time at is the gatekeeper, but you want to identify them. A gatekeeper keeps you out. A gatekeeper is the block. So this is what I always say to everybody. When you meet an individual that they protest too much, they protest this, they protest that, they say no, 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 that's a gatekeeper. If they say, I can't provide you that information, no, that isn't how we do it, no, here's all the rules and regulations, that's a gatekeeper. Do not waste your time on a gatekeeper, because that's what they're hired to do. Gatekeepers are hired to keep the information internal, to keep others out of the deal. So you must identify them and move away, and only identify the individuals we went over. The whale, the sponsor, the prime, the subprime, the project manager. These are individuals that you want to seek out. Why? Because you want to know your prospective buyer. That way you don't have to waste time. So the SOQ, of course, is your end product. And later on, which I'm willing to do as we move down with all these consulting situations and webinars and meetings, we're going to go over what buyer goes with what industry. Then, next slide. We're getting through this. Okay. So here is the structure of the SOQ. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to go on. I'm sorry. Know the prospective buyer. This is the second side of it. So most important lessons for a business owner. Okay, these are the things that I learned that I wish somebody would have told me years ago. Who is the real decision maker? Even though I gave you a list of all those individuals, who is the real decision maker when it comes to you sending your SOQ and who's going to decide on who's going to win the contract. Because that's who you really want to go after. Who's the real decision maker? Then, who is the influencers? That's different than the decision maker. The influencers, sometimes they're, for example, city council members or lobbyists, or sometimes a procurement officer. If you get to meet the procurement officer, influencers can say, oh, I know Cecelia, she does a great job. And they'll tell that to the decision maker. So it's a difference between a decision maker and influencers. So we'll talk about that in future seminars or future one-on-ones. And then this is the most difficult part for people to accept, is the opportunity wired. Who knows what that word means? What for business, wired? Is the opportunity wired? Does anybody wanna take a chance? No. Wired means everyone's already been selected. Everyone has already been picked. So that's the first thing any client asks me, believe it or not, when I bring them opportunities, when I show them different projects, different deals, they say, oh, Cecelia, is that opportunity wired? In other words, has everybody been selected? Has everybody already been hired? Even though the contract is out there, even though the opportunity is out there, everybody knows in the background, people have already been selected. So you don't want to waste your time on that type of situation. And sometimes your client will tell you, oh, not this project this time. We've already pre-selected. Then, where is the truthful information on the business opportunity? That's the main thing you need to know. Is the information out there really the truthful information? You're lucky if you belong to the Hispanic Contractors of Colorado, because sometimes an organization like HCC may be able to define the real truth on the opportunity. Sometimes consultants like myself, Chris, different board members, different consultants know the real truth. Is the main thing, is it really funded? Is there really money there? Or is it just informational? Are they just getting all the people together to say, oh, these are the contractors that are out there? Why chase something that isn't funded? And that has happened to me. In the end, there's no money. So I've wasted everyone's time. So one of the things is, what is the true full information on the business opportunity? Okay, next slide. Okay, the structure of the SOQ, okay? So, the content and information must flow easily for the customer to follow and read. I cannot tell you how many SOQs fail, even big companies fail on their SOQ because the information is clumsy, or there's too much of it, or they put it in a folder that has 15 pages in it. No. An SOQ has to flow easily and is easily read, because whoever's sitting there, they only have a few minutes because people are so busy. So it has to absolutely flow easily for the customer to follow and read. Number two, most customers make the decision to read the SOQ in seconds. Let me say that again. Most individuals look at an SOQ and they can tell if it's worthy to be read. It's very, very, very easy to know when something is difficult to see the information. If I have to look for it, I'm not going to read it. So that's one of the things that you want to make that very clear in your SOQ. Does your SOQ take into consideration the time of the individual that's going to read that SOQ? Once again, does your SOQ take into consideration that person's time? That in itself is a win. If it's a superintendent, You know how busy they are on projects. They only have minutes. So if you give them something simple and concise to read, they're going to remember you. Okay, last but not least, the next slide. Okay, remember, and this may sound simple, but I just want to remind you, your company name and logo. Remember that. And your company name is very important, and your logo is very important. Make sure it reflects you. Make sure it says something about you, because that's what's going to grab them. Your layout. Your layout has to flow smoothly in the SOQ structure. You know, make sure the layout isn't busy and cumbersome. Color. Make sure it's easy to read. I cannot tell you, when I look at SOQs that have black backgrounds with white letters, it's very difficult to read that. You need to make it as easy to read when it comes to color. And then don't forget your contact information. That should be critical and very much at the top or on the side, but very easily for the people to get at. And then of course your content, which we have to get into at a later date. Now we're going to talk about NAICS codes. I cannot tell you what a winning situation is when you know your NAICS codes. And that's the codes that identify what you do to every single individual that is a decision. I did a statement of qualification for a company, one pager, and the procurement officer picked that SOQ because I had the NAICS codes listed. NRAL, that's who it was. NRAL, a procurement officer. She said, oh my God, you have the NAICS codes. I said, yes, I do. She goes, come on, sit down, let's talk. You have to know your NAICS code, which is going to be a different webinar, because if your NAICS codes are incorrect and you're not identifying them correctly, it's going to kill your deal. So that's another seminar. And then we're going to talk about certifications very quickly. Next slide, please. First of all, on your SOQ, make sure you identify your industry certifications. That should come first before anything else. If you have it, show it. You know, if you had good looks, show it, right? If you have a CDL, if you have licenses, whatever you have in your industry, that makes you unique. That makes you special. Make sure you put that. And the reason I'm getting so passionate about this is because people forget. They think that's not important, and it's critical. And then add your governmental certifications, what we're going to talk about in a minute. So you want to make sure that's critical, because we'll talk later about how those certifications may lead you to contract opportunities. And then, of course, once again, your NAICS code, which we're going to talk about at a later date. And then know and seek out certifications that are relevant to your business focus. I cannot tell you how many individuals that go out there and just get all the certifications they can, thinking it's going to help them get business. It doesn't work that way. It's only certifications that relate to your business focus, your business trade, your professional services. And later on, we'll be doing certification webinars. But please read which certifications match your business. And then seek organizations, agencies that are proven to drive business opportunities. Oh, I cannot tell you how important this sentence is. Seek organizations and agencies that are proven to drive business opportunities. You need to interview, research the organizations that you join because you're small business. Do not join organizations that are not part of your business opportunity. I've done it before because I've had to, but it was because I was being paid. But some of the organizations have nothing to do with real business development, real business opportunities. You want to research organizations that are going to help you with business opportunities. If you go to a restaurant meeting or a meeting, you want to sit across from people that are decision makers in your business, not somebody that is not connected at all with your business. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to talk just about one certification because we don't have time. I'm going to talk about the DBE certification as an example of looking for particular certifications. The DBE certification, which is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification, is a federal certification for federal projects. So for example, you think of it this way, it goes for federal highways, federal aviation, federal transit. Those are just 3 examples of federal agencies that accept the DBE certification on federal projects, right? Like the I-70 corridor, or the Great Hall at the airport, or the transit, which is our RTD. Those are only 3 examples of where the DBE certification works, which means when you look for particular contracts, there may be goals for DBEs. So that may just be one certification that relates to your business. But if it doesn't relate to your business, and you're not going to seek out these type of federal projects, you may not want to get a DBE certification. But you need to investigate that certification. And we'll talk about that in other webinars in order to seek out the two critical things that are going to be included on your SOQ, which is your next codes and particular certifications that are going to help you get work. So if you wish to seek me out so that we can continue this conversation and continue building an SOQ, you can reach me at 303-304-9595. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there's my information. And we can set up one-on-ones, or I am also willing to do very small, because of the rules and regulations, very small group meetings and do like a presentation, almost like a classroom presentation, in order to get through the SOQ process. So this is all we're able to do today. I realize this is very fast and it's a lot of information, and it's not as detailed of a situation as if I sit with you and actually go through your SOQ. But once again, I have been able to join HCC as a consultant. So please call me for further consultation at 303-304-9595. My name is Cecelia Garcia. I thank you very much for allowing me to be here today and take some of your precious time in order to learn about the SOQ. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecelia. What a great presentation. Are there any questions before I go on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you have any questions, you're welcome to unmute yourself and ask any questions. While you're thinking about that, I wanted to offer again. Cecelia mentioned it, and it's something unusual, but through our HCC, Hispanic Contractors Colorado, we do have Cecelia as a consultant and is available to assist any one of you on one-on-ones. We will set up some additional workshops where we can actually sit down in a small group and do statements of qualifications, help you design your own statement of qualifications unique to your own company and what you do as a part of the services that we'll be providing. So stay tuned to those types of things, but get in touch with Cecelia or me here at the office, and we'd be happy to be able to assist you with that. The thing I wanted to also say is we will also send a copy of all these slides out to all those who are registered for today, so you will have the slides for your reference to look at going forward as well. So if you, I want to remind folks, those who have been in our seminars before, the next slide is the follow us on our social media. If you post something about it, if you thought today's webinar was great, you found some good information, post something on social media, use one of our hashtags, we would appreciate it. We like to spread the word. We really are concentrating on trying to help small businesses as much as possible. I'm also going to ask you to be sure to do our survey. As Allison just pulled up the survey to show you that it is short. The link is in the chat room. If you go to the chat room and click that link, it'll take you right to this survey. And if you would just answer those few short questions, we would appreciate it. We need that information in order to know that we're really meeting your needs and what other things you would like us to have. So please do the survey for us. Thank you again for attending today. Thank you, Cecelia, for a really well done presentation today. Very informative. I learned a lot. Hopefully you did too. And there's more to come, more we can offer to you, whether it's one-on-one or in a workshop. So please don't forget that. Here's some future classes we have, webinars we have coming up. Our self-awareness one, Key to Effective Leadership. This is put on by Contractor Academy. If you've not attended one of the previous leadership classes by Contractor Academy, you've missed out on something really great. So don't miss out on this one, August 18th. Very inexpensive. It's a $30 fee, and I can tell you, you can pay upwards $300 to $500 for a class like this on the open market. These guys, it's really an excellent class. On August 19th, our general membership meeting, City of Denver will have our agencies there to give an update and opportunities, the procurement opportunities available through the city. And August 29th is our Contractor Academy, again, marketing boot camp. We possibly will have a couple other webinars before the end of the month that we'll be posting. We have a lot of them in September. And again, we have sponsorship opportunities if you'd like to sponsor any one of our webinars or be a sponsor for our general membership meeting. That is great because you have an opportunity to talk about your company. We'd love to talk to you about that. So give me a call at the office or email here at the office. We would appreciate that. We thank you again for your time. I know it's been busy. I don't see any